What's up, guys? Welcome to the Tatted Addicts podcast. I'm your host, Noise. With me today is my homie, Retro. This is a podcast where we talk about addiction, recovery, and mental health. So today we have my friend Retro. She's going to kind of tell us a little bit about her story, her struggle with addiction, and how she came out of it. What's up, Retro?
How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
It's cool to have you on the show.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Let's just dive into it. Why don't we start off by telling us a little bit about the things that you struggled with in your addiction, what you were addicted to, and we'll go from there.
All right. So mostly what I was dealing with was mainly alcohol. Every once in a while it was a little bit of Coke.
Okay.
And sometimes I would overdose on the weed, just mix them all together and it would make a really fun concoction. High school it was pills.
Okay.
So it's fun.
So how long was your, would you say you were addicted or struggling with the addiction, I guess?
Honestly, I don't remember a start.
Okay.
I remember being told stories about my parents having me drink from when I was in diapers because they thought it was funny. They're just bullshitting around. And I just never really stopped, because my parents thought it was cool, so I was going to do the cool thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically your childhood is where it started.
Everything was structured around alcohol.
Okay.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about the first time that you started messing with pills, like how it came about.
Okay. So, like I said, that was something that my mom actually got into. So it was just always around me, mostly Vicodin.
Okay.
So it was just readily available.
Yeah.
And I would watch her mix it with booze. So she'd mix the two, and I'd watch her get all screwy, and, what's mom doing? All I know is to imitate my parents. So I would delve into that, and I think the part that got me was in high school. I started doing it pretty heavily. Struggle with ADD, ADHD, diagnosed really young, but I couldn't settle myself down. My parents didn't want to get me basically programmed to taking the ADHD meds.
Yeah.
They wanted me to make sure I could grow into an adult, develop properly, and at least that's what they told me.
Right.
But
so were you prescribed medicine then for the ADHD during your
I
childhood?
was when I was in 4th grade.
Okay.
And I don't really know why my parents stopped. All they told me was that they didn't want me to develop poorly being addicted to it or something. I don't know if that was... I think they were being lazy, but I have no idea.
Right.
I think it was a lot for them to keep up with. My dad's pretty old school, kind of hard-headed. But the hindering factor for me, I was senior year. I struggled in high school all 4 years, but my senior year I got a 3.8 GPA. I got on the honor roll, and that was because of Vicodin, because I could settle down. And that, I knew something was wrong. I was like, that's got to stop. That's going to be a positive affirmation for a really bad track, because I watched my mom go down it.
Yeah.
So I felt like I knew when pumping the brakes was going to serve me best. But then it just switched over to alcohol. It all shifted back over. So.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about like what home life was like on the day-to-day then for you.
I had my parents divorced when I was 7. So most of my life was between 2 households. My folks, we had a really decent upbringing. I don't think that no parent wakes up and goes, man, I can't wait to mess up my kids today.
Right.
Nobody does that. But they did the best with what they had. And for me, it wasn't enough. And that's okay. On the weekends, we'd go up north with my folks, and they would drink to excess every night. And then we'd wake up and we'd go work on the farm and run fence lines and move cattle. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
But when nobody was looking, we were down at deer camp getting drunk and taking the four-wheelers out and side-by-sides being dumb kids. no helmets, doing dangerous stuff. I got scars.
Right.
Getting drunk, falling over onto things, lying to my parents, but they knew better. But yeah, through the weeks, it was just staying home and doing school. And then weekends, it was back up north.
Gotcha. So when you were going through that, like in high school and stuff, did your parents know that you were drinking and using? Like, did they like help you get alcohol and things like that, or?
So it was everywhere around me, and it was so excessive that, like, the back of the alcohol cabinet, that was my bread and butter. That was where all the alcohol was. They didn't want to drink, half gallons of gin. Who wants to chug gin? Nobody. Pints all.
Yeah.
But it's just all the stuff that stuff that's left over from holiday parties, everything would just go towards the back. Or I had an uncle who also drank to excess, and we'd walk around the property and we'd search through his vehicles and we'd find natty lights, and there was always alcohol somewhere. It was just available.
Okay. Yep. Definitely, as a kid, a lot of kids tend to fall into that, especially if they see it from their parents. Our parents are supposed to show us what we're supposed to do in life. So if all we see is alcoholism and addiction, then, naturally we become a product of our environment like anything else, right?
Just everyday life. I didn't know it was weird.
Right. Well, right. It was normal for them, so you just assumed that was probably your life too, right?
Yep. That's what I thought being a grown-up was partying and drinking. I genuinely thought that was where we needed to go. That's my next step. That's how I know I'm a grown-up. That's where I'm at.
Right.
And that was my identifier for being grown up, and that is not the case now. So grateful.
That's good. So did you graduate high school?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened after you graduated? Did you leave your home? Did you live with your parents for a while?
Yeah, so I moved out, oh goodness, about 6 months after I graduated.
Okay.
My dad and I got into kind of I want to say fisticuffs. He never laid hands on me, but he armbarred me into the wall because we were going back and forth, and he's a redhead, I'm a redhead, so we're very hot-headed.
Right.
And he challenged me, and I pushed back. And I know that if I were a young man, he probably would have swung on me, but he restrained himself. And I knew I had to leave. So I ended up moving out. I did live with my mom for a while, but that was sheer chaos. I mean, I can't tell you how many times because she worked third shift, I'd get calls at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. She's drunk at the bar, needs me to go pick her up. And I was grateful for those days, because otherwise she's driving home trashed from the bar. There were days I get phone calls. I might choke up.
That's okay.
But there were days I got phone calls, and one of my friends is like, hey, some lady just called me with your mom's phone. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, she found her laying in the street. Cool. So I had to go pick her up, and thankfully a random stranger found her who was super duper nice, took her inside, fed her some water. Mom was combative the whole time because, just gorked.
Yeah.
And that was just the first time. And the last time that I did it, that I was living there, the point of me moving out of there was, I had lived with her for about 3 years. I was about 21. But at that point, what I did was I walked in one day and she was sprawled on the ground, looked like a dead man pose, and her hair was all over the place. It looked like she was dead. And I didn't know what to do. I don't know how long she was laying there. I ran up to her. I checked for a pulse, but at that point, my adrenaline was going so fast, I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran downstairs. I called my friend she did some sort of nursing. I can't remember. She worked at a rehab facility. I was like, hey, I don't know what to do. Obviously panicked. She came over. She checked on her. Mom ended up waking up because she brought smelling salts. But yeah, I just knew I didn't want to do that again. And so I moved out on my own, but the way that I dealt with all that stuff was just booze.
Yeah.
Any chance I could, stop the screaming. My shit was terrible. That's all I got right now.
Okay. So you're on your own in your 20s and stuff like that. Had your own place to live and job and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I had a roommate. And then, so actually when I was 22, I had met a man. Very nice, one of my coworkers, but we ended up dating for about 3 years. He was an illegal immigrant, and we had gotten pregnant. And then 2 months into my pregnancy, he actually got deported. And I was trying to get it to where he was getting deported the right way so we could get him back. But all I could think of was I didn't want to be my mom. I didn't want to repeat that. I didn't want to put that on any kids. So I gave him up for adoption. Turns out I'm a fantastic parent. But at that point, I had no idea. I just didn't want to hurt a kid the way that I hurt.
Yeah.
So I found him a really good family. He's doing great.
Yeah.
He's thriving.
Are you in contact with him now?
Yep. I'm Mama
sweet.
J.
That's really cool.
Yeah. All 4 of the kids.
So adoption doesn't always end up working like that, you know? So
no.
that's really
We have a
lucky.
beautiful story. It's wonderful. My parents are grandma, grandpa, my brother's uncle. You know, it wasn't adoption and giving away a kid. It was adoption and absorbing a family.
Right.
That was a beautiful story.
That's awesome.
I can't ask for anything more.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, how did things go after that? After, you know, your child being put up for adoption. So you went full term, gave birth to the baby. Were you sober during the time of your pregnancy?
That's a good question. So I talked to my doctor, and I remember asking her, can I drink? Why does that need to be a thing? I don't know. But so she told me I could have a glass of red wine every day. And I was like, now we know better. But that was, 15 years ago?
Right.
That wasn't that long ago. So I had it down to just one Saturday. Every Saturday, I would have a glass of red wine if I wanted it. Normally what the body does is it just kind of shuts down that urge. And so that was really nice. It was just I didn't have the internal screaming. Instead, my body was protecting my baby.
Right.
So that's good.
That's good.
That's great. But yeah, it was weird because I had friends who I went out to a barbecue and they're like, hey, you know, do you want a beer? I'm like, kind of, like 7 months pregnant here. She's like, oh, it's fine. And I'm like, because I would drink shamefully and you know, the solitude of my home where nobody could look at me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, they'd offer me a beer. The same friend actually, when I had had my baby, she showed up and she's like, hey, pulls out of her purse a beer. And I was like, I don't know if I like this. And I was like, they got me attached to like monitors and stuff. I'm going to save this and put it on a shelf somewhere for laughing later. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it though. But yeah, 2-3 weeks after that, it was just alcohol. As much as I could. I didn't want to feel anything. It was so much.
Now, did they take the baby like right after he was born, or was it like shortly after?
Those
How
are
did
really
that
good
work?
questions. So what ended up happening was they came to the hospital. I had him. They stayed at the hospital. Basically, they had parent passes. So they had
as in the new
the
parents?
Yep.
Okay.
So they had full access to everything. You know, they were with me through. I found them when I was about 5 or 6 months pregnant.
Okay, so you had the ball rolling before.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You know, she was going to pregnancy appointments with me, and
Nice.
we went to the adoption center, so they talked through like mental health stuff with me, kind of what to expect, feelings to anticipate, how to manage them. Super grateful, wonderful, like start to finish, wonderful. But they hung out with me, for about 2 days, and then they came in and we did a little photo shoot together, and then they bundled him up and took him home. And I sat, because I had an emergency C-section, I sat there for about 2 days, just solo. That was tough.
At the hospital?
At the hospital.
What was going through your mind?
I don't. How could I? Regret?
Regret, shame.
Yeah, shame. That was a big one. My sister showed up, so that was nice. But my mom, she showed up one night, and then she was supposed to show up the next night. Basically, they were kind of traded off on shifts when they could, so it was mostly at night. Grateful for. But that second night my mom was supposed to show up, she got drunk downtown, and she fell down a manhole cover. I don't know. She fell, knocked herself. She was all banged up. So she rolled in a wheelchair because they had her in the ER. So that was weird. It's trauma blocked it out for sure.
Right.
A lot of that. But it was, yeah, I guess afterwards it was, like I said, just 2-3 weeks of drinking. I took a total of 4 weeks off work, and then I went back to it because I couldn't stand the time alone anymore. Because after I was up at my folks for about 2 weeks, and that last week I just sat at my place, and it was so quiet. It was too quiet. I need to get back at it. And there's a lot of anger. And I know now that anger is a secondary emotion to bigger, deeper things going on.
Sure.
And it was just snap. One thing goes wrong, and I'm in the back box room throwing rolls of saran wrap at anything I can because I'm going to hurt everything.
Yeah.
And this is safer. But yeah, I did that for a while, and then I just basically threw myself at work. I was working a warehouse. I had bosses who would go to the Twisted Bull after work every day, so joined up with them.
Many a nights there with you myself.
Yeah. Troublesome place. Super fun. At the time.
Yeah. Not so much when you're sober.
You just stare at it and go, why?
Yeah. Well, shortly after having the baby, how did life kind of maneuver from there?
Kind of. I started dating really damaged men who had children. So I sought out single fathers because I was trying to replace my kids.
Yeah, sure.
And that was non-fruitious. That was self-harm. I just didn't notice it. And it was, it just gradually got worse. I don't know if it's just I got older and we all got damaged more, or if it was just I kept seeking out more things to fix that weren't me.
Sometimes we look for damaged goods or damaged situations to keep ourselves busy enough that we don't have to worry about fixing ourselves. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's almost comical sometimes.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I don't know. This is on fire. I'm going to put it out. Don't worry about mine.
The whole time you're on fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is fine, though. I'm used to it, right?
Absolutely.
But, yeah, it came to a really bad head, but I walked out of one of my last really bad relationships with 2 kids who mean everything to me, and I'm so grateful for the mess, and I would go through it 12 times again as long as it meant that I had those kids with me.
Okay.
That's good
So
shit.
so like your significant other's kids, not your biological kids?
Correct.
Okay, but
Yeah.
so you guys broke up and you're still in their lives basically?
Yep.
Excellent.
So he has 2 kids, and youngest kid. He's got mom and dad, and we call each other sister wife, his mother. So I always call her up. I'm like, hey, everything going good? Do you need anything fixed around the house? I make sure she's doing all right. We kind of team parent her kids when we're around each other. It's a really cool relationship. And his oldest daughter, her mother unfortunately passed when she was 2. And I know what it's like to not have a mom.
Yeah.
So I made sure that she's always got me. Even if it's quiet, she's 22 now. So even if it's quiet, even if it goes a certain span of time, she calls me and I will drop everything to make sure that phone gets picked up and
That's
get
really
her taken
cool.
care of. Yeah. I love it.
So tell me about your rock bottom moment. Like, what was the moment where you felt like, dang, I'm ready, I need to make a decision to better myself as an individual? What was that moment like for you?
So I had a few warning signs that I just kept ignoring. A lot of it was I would recklessly get on the motorcycle and drive around after a night of drinking, because they're not going to catch me on a bike. They'll catch me in a cage, but not on a bike. I'm faster than the cops. I'm smarter than the cops. I'm also drunker than the cops. What the hell?
Yep.
And so I knocked the bike over a couple times, and I had gotten my dream career getting lined up, and I kept messing that up. I was showing up late to work. I was showing up drunk. I would fall asleep on customer floors, like the basement, because it's cold, and you're hungover and dizzy. That basement floor is wonderful. But yeah, it started messing with me, and then I went through that breakup, and everything got real chaotic. I identified that something was wrong, and I kept wanting to basically end it. I wanted to check out, because I'd be cruising down the road, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, there's a curb. I could just lean over, right?
Oh, wow.
It takes a split second. Yeah. And I saw that, and it scared me. So I would stay off the bike when those thoughts came in until it came and went in waves. And then I started dating somebody. I was trying to show off a little bit. He was a biker. I was a biker. But I got on the bike again, and we went out partying all night, and it was 6:30 in the morning when I had the accident. But I leaned over. I gave into it. I caved.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't remember it, but they told me, you hit the curb and you flung yourself about 40 feet, and the bike flung about 20, and then it kept spinning. I didn't even want it back. I didn't want the bike back. It took me almost 2.5 years to even look at the pictures. I didn't want to revisit it. But yeah, that would be my rock bottom. And then I guess my eureka moment would be when I woke up in the hospital. 'Cause every time,
From the accident?
yeah.
Okay.
Every time for the longest time, every time I was like, I want a drink, my brain would immediately picture looking at that ceiling and seeing a cop down here and my buddy over here with his head in his hands, because he was right next to me. He made sure I was taken care of the whole time. And he was just sitting there sad with himself, because obviously, we were on our third date. And so I'm here, and he's like, what the hell did I do to this chick?
Right.
That's not what any man wants to do.
Sure.
But he stood there. He was decent. We're still kind of on talking terms every once in a while, but he's off doing his own thing. But yeah, after that, I knew I had to resurface. I used the phrase, I'm going to make it or make it, and it's held me together for a long time.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
So, is that when you started getting sober, or when did the decision to actually get sober and stay sober for good take place, would you say?
So I was actually, for about 3 months prior to my accident, I was trying to get sober. I had a solid block of 2 months of sobriety before I got in that accident, because I started hanging out with this guy, and let myself cave because I am who I surround myself with.
Yep.
Yeah. So I let myself cave into that, and then it got bad, and I was like, "Yep, this is it. We're done." I got kids to live for. I got people who love me. I've got a brother who, I had a nephew who was 6 months old. And I was like, there's no way I'm leaving that kid. You know,
Right.
there's so many things to stay for. And I knew it all needed to happen then. It was going to happen. Come hell or high water, I was done.
Good. So once you started getting sober, quit using, walk me through like the first few days. Were there withdrawals, emotions?
I don't quite remember because it wasn't. I was laid up in bed for about 3 weeks and I had a broken neck. So they gave me painkillers, terrified me,
Right.
but I needed to take them because I didn't know how to manage that pain. So what I did, because I was used to, the pills in my teen years, what I did was I had a check-in system. So every time I needed to take one, I would check in with my sister-in-law, let her know that I took it. But she would time it out for me. So I checked in with her, she would time it out. And I was living with roommates at the time, so they had physical custody of it. So I just basically had to take extra steps and put extra walls in my way.
To make sure you were using the medicine as directed, not
Yeah.
for leisure.
Yep.
Okay.
And my doctor, very well aware of those things too. I never wanted to hide that stuff. I only ever wanted to keep myself safe from it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay. So how long have you been sober now?
2.5 years. November 5th will be 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Came a long way.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I've known Retro for years. We go way back,
Way
probably
back.
a decade.
Oof.
We partied in bars, clubhouses. So it's really enlightening to see you sitting in this chair, being able to tell your story for sure. What's life look like nowadays? Almost 3 years sober. Tell us a little bit about the new life.
So it's one hell of a transformation. I never thought I'd be here in life. I've been running my own plumbing company. Recently switched over. I'm doing union starting next month. Really excited and terrified about that, but do the scary things, right?
Yeah.
And I got a really good man next to me who held my hand through every challenge that I come across.
He's a great dude.
He's wonderful. I don't know why he came into my life, and sometimes I question it, because we doubt ourselves. We think we're kind of scum of the earth when we're in that addict mindset. And he was just this pure human who came to my life, and I was like, oh no, I can't hurt him. I can't do that to this one. He is innocent. And because he is that way, I've always wanted to protect him, and that makes me be a better person. But yeah, it just looks great. I like waking up. I like my dogs. I like my cup of coffee in the morning. That's peaceful.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice quiet life.
Yeah. Used to be boring.
Right.
Right at the beginning of sobriety, that was terrible. What is this? It's quiet. I'm bored. I hate it.
Yep. Don't want to talk to people. The people I do want to talk to, I know I shouldn't.
That part though.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's still places I avoid. Like there was a 50-year anniversary party, and I got asked, hey, are you gonna be there this weekend? I'm like, so when I'm around that crowd, bad things happen.
Right.
It's not good. I got better things to do. I'm just gonna stay home and eat a peanut butter and jelly.
That's growth, though.
It is.
It's decisions like that remind you where you came from, and 3-4 years ago you might not have said no.
Oh no,
Even
I'd have
if
been there in a
you're-
heartbeat.
Right. Even if you were trying to get sober, you know, in those early stages, you might have still been like, you know what, let's go. So
Yeah, I
that's
got
huge.
this. I can handle this. You
Yeah.
come home drunk. Bedtime.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time. That went quick. I just want to say I'm pleased to have you as my friend. Like I said, we've been friends for a while. I've tattooed the shit out of you.
A couple times.
You know, I've watched your growth hands on. You know, I've seen you come a long way. I guess I haven't necessarily seen you at your absolute worst, but I've seen you pretty close, and watching you grow and blossom, you and your man, the way your guys' relationship works is really inspiring, and I'm really proud of you, and I want to make sure that, you know, you give yourself grace for that. One last thing, if there was something that you could tell the people watching today, anything that might be struggling with similar situations to what you went through, what do you think that would be?
Do it afraid. Anything that you need to run at, do it afraid. And build your tribe. If things get heavy, make sure you pick up that phone. If you can't pick up the phone because it gets heavy, leave it on the table and call anyways. Don't pick up the phone. Just type it and scream at it.
Right.
Just grab your support crew and hang on tight. It's a ride.
Yeah. That's definitely solid advice.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I want to thank you for coming and being on the podcast. I know you've been watching since the first one, and, you know, excited to be on it. So it's awesome to have you here. I want to make sure anybody watching that is going through a similar situation or wants to be sitting next to me and tell us your story, it ends up being pretty therapeutic for people. People that have never done anything like this end up hitting me up, telling me how, you know, amazing they feel, that they got it off their chest, things that they didn't realize they wanted to talk about come out with the questions that we ask. So it ends up working for not just the people watching, but the people sitting here as well. So make sure you check out our website, tattedaddicts.com, if you want to be a part of the podcast. Even if you're not from around here, we're finding ways to be able to connect with any and everybody who wants to tell their story. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.